This is Stephen Solomon. Welcome to DingoTalk.
You wanna know by now. You wanna know by now. You wanna know by now. You wanna know. You wanna know. You wanna know.
What's going on, Chuckleheads? I am Carlo Guadagnino. This is Dingo Talk. My guest, Stephen Solomon. Stephen, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I got to ask you, for those of you who don't know, Stephen played Division I and then Division II basketball.
Yes, sir.
Why basketball? Why is that the sport that stuck with you? Did you play other sports along with it?
Yeah, growing up I played all the sports, football, baseball, soccer, but baseball was always too slow. My feet weren't that great for soccer. And football, I don't know,
Didn't want to get hit?
Love getting hit.
I understand that. I mean, and playing basketball, it's very team oriented, but it's also individual at the same. Like if you're not doing your job, you're hurting the team. But if you're doing your job and the team's doing everything with you, then it's
pretty good.
And it's very fun to watch when you're watching good basketball.
For sure.
Speaking of good basketball, 2016, there's a team there. It's a pretty good team.
Pretty good team.
Pretty good team. It's an undefeated team, state champion. And we'll get to that because there's a quote from you that was inevitably who you played in the state championship was, unless you would have had played them, the championship wouldn't have mattered. But let's unpack that season. So that's your senior year.
Yep, for sure.
You're not at that point. You're not committed anywhere. You're not right. You're just
wide open.
Now, was
Wide
there
open.
recruitment going on during that?
Yeah, for sure. I heard from a lot of the Mountain East schools, Fairmount, obviously, Glenville, West Lib, Wheeling Jesuit.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, yeah, mainly those five that I mentioned.
And at what point, because it's your brother's on that team, at what point do you feel that, wow, this is a special team, like that we actually have a chance to do something?
I would say since the year before, honestly.
Okay.
We had a really good team the year before, but got upset in the regional. So immediately after that game, we just kind of got to work and put our heads down and knew we had to come back and do better the next season. But yeah, I'd say probably directly after that game, knew we had a pretty good core coming back. So we were hurt that we lost, but excited for the next year.
And what made you guys so good from that junior year to senior year? What was the big difference in the team?
I would definitely say the work we put in the off season is a big difference. But I would say the biggest difference was the chemistry on the team and just how well everyone meshed together. Not that saying the year before wasn't, because I'm still friends with a lot of those guys from that team too. But I would just say the pieces fit perfectly that year. Everyone kind of had a role. Everyone knew their role, and no one really stepped outside the role unless they were called upon to. So
now you brought up the upset the year before. Who upset you?
Parkersburg.
The year now was
at home. We were number one in the region. Lost at home.
Now is that a team also in that senior year that you want to see? You want to get that chance to redeem yourself against?
Yeah, for sure.
And how did that game go?
I don't think we played them the next year though. I don't think they were on our schedule. I can't remember for sure. I know we played Park South, but I'm not sure if I can't remember if Parkersburg was on there.
So that we're clear, you went to Morgantown High School.
Yep. Yeah, Morgantown High.
So we probably should have said what school we were to. I jumped right in there. I was excited to hear about this. We didn't talk about the first time we went through this recording. We just kind of zoomed through everything. So you get through the regular season. Was there any point going into the playoffs that you or anybody on the team thought that there was any other outcome other than a state title?
No, it would have been a lost season if so. I mean, all them wins wouldn't have mattered and everything. So we knew we were going there to had one job to do. And
now that brings us to the quote that I pointed out. Without what it was Huntington, right?
It was essentially saying that we kind of, I'm not going to say we did, I mean, we wanted Huntington when it came down to it because we had played the other team before.
Mm-hmm.
But it just, I mean, we played pretty much every good AAA school that year. So, I mean, we definitely wanted our crack at Huntington.
And not only did you say that part of it, but you also went on further. The further quote is, it doesn't, almost wouldn't have counted or wouldn't have been.
Definitely still would have counted, but having them, back-to-back defending state champions, definitely would. Definitely, like, solidified, like, yeah, this team.
And is that the only reason? They're the back-to-back champs, and now you get your chance to knock them off.
Yeah, we won.
So walk us through that game. How does the game go because it's a back-and-forth game, correct?
Yeah, for the most part, back and forth. First half was like they were up 3 or something like that, and then first part of the third quarter was kind of close, and then we ended up down like 9 points in the fourth quarter, actually. And they were dancing on the court and everything during a timeout, and Tolman actually just kind of pulled out his phone and read us this quote. I forget what it was, but it was something along the lines of like, tough time, or weak men don't make it through tough times like make strong men, or something like along those lines. I forget exactly what it was. I just butchered it, but after that,
we're paraphrasing the quote.
Yeah, after that we went on a 9-0 run, tied the game, and since then it went into overtime, I believe, right? Yeah, it went to overtime, and we ended up pulling out in overtime.
It was 79-77, I think, is the final. From what I looked up from a couple of the past articles that I found. What was it like? Because, I mean, you grow up playing with your brother, right?
Yeah.
Graduating in that way, you're done with high school basketball. Getting to share that with your brother, what's that like?
Meant everything. Me and Nick are best friends, so just being able to have that experience together is something probably we'll never forget.
Now, so at the state championship, you're still being recruited heavily by the Division II schools.
Yeah, some Division I interest, but nothing really serious. So
now, when does it shift?
I ended up playing AAU that spring with Big Shots, and Kevin Schneider invited me to play on his team, which I was very thankful for. And the last tournament of the April Live period, Wichita State coach was just sitting on the bench, and I ended up having a real good tournament that whole weekend. So they had me on a visit, and I left Wichita. Shocker.
Now, before we go into your adventure to Wichita, because I can't imagine I went to Bethany. There's nothing there. I can tell you there's nothing there. Kansas as a whole, and no disrespect to Kansas, but that's the only thing I know is that it's just very wide and open and flat. You played high school basketball, you played AAU basketball. Right now, recruiting-wise, I think the bigger side of recruiting comes from the AAU scene than it does from the high school basketball scene.
Yeah,
Do you feel that that's good because you're getting everybody's top player on an AAU team, whereas a high school might have one guy or two guys?
No, I definitely think AAU is a great thing. Just gives kids exposure that otherwise may play in like a smaller area. They play on a bigger AAU team, so I think it's a good thing. But coaches definitely want to see how you play in a more controlled setting, such as high school. I mean, in a system, there's no really systems in AAU anymore. You just kind of go out there and play.
Yeah.
You get guys from different areas and whatnot. So I think they both equally mean the most, but I'd definitely say it gets you maybe a little more exposure.
It's interesting. I had Chase Harler on a couple weeks ago, and we talked about the AAU circuit versus the high school circuit, and he played at Wheeling Central, which is exactly what you're talking about. It's a small, controlled environment, so you get to see how a player like that interacts in that environment. But then for him to get recruited, he needed the AAU for that extra exposure.
Especially in West Virginia, smaller state, and people really don't respect basketball players from out of here. So,
which is kind of crazy, because I mean the AAU
players. I mean, we got the logo.
Well, the guy that's the NBA logo is a Mountaineer through and through.
Jerry.
And last week's guest, the Zip himself, he AAU coach.
Yeah, I played for Zip my whole life.
The quote was the AAU coach. There were apparently in Zip's world there are no other AAU coaches, only Zip. So
Zipper's the man.
It's just an interesting take that we've gone down, because I figured 15 years ago the AAU circuit was big, but it wasn't what
I
it
would
is
say
now.
it was more like camps back then, like sneaker sponsor company
Yeah.
camps. But I mean, yeah, definitely when it isn't what it was, or it was what it is now. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So we get from the AAU circuit, you go on a visit to Wichita, you come out a Shocker. What's the next step? You go to summer school, right?
Yeah, summer school. So for me, going back to the recruitment, like my dream was always to kind of play D1,
Mm-hmm.
and that was something I always wanted to do and something I wanted to try. So when I was given that opportunity, I just felt like I wanted to jump out and grab it. But yeah, summer school was next, and then it was definitely a great experience going out there.
Now, why Division I basketball? Why was Division I such a, like, I mean, obviously
just-
every basketball player,
Yeah.
but why for you?
Because I always wanted to play in an NCAA tournament. I always want to play in March.
Mhm.
So, I'd definitely say that's one of the biggest reasons that you definitely want to just try to be the best and get to the highest level you possibly can. So, that was always my goal.
Now, you don't stay in Wichita very long for.
I stayed for the summer. It was a great experience. I had nothing but good things to say, but I was just a little homesick. I'd never been away from home like that before, so I miss West Virginia, miss the mountains.
And the mental health side that I don't think athletes really get the opportunity to talk about.
Yeah.
The fact that you can be honest with yourself about, wasn't for lack of effort, wasn't for that you weren't going to be all right in Wichita. It was you wanted your family there to be able to watch the games. You like being around as you pointed out, you grew up playing. You played for Zip. You played with your brother, cousins. You know what I mean? Like you guys are very family oriented. And it's not something that athletes specifically, I think we tend to not talk about that side of things.
Yeah. For
So you make your way back. How do you find yourself at Fairmount, and why Fairmount and not maybe say try to walk on at WVU?
Just 'cause I had a great relationship with the coaching staff there. Coach Missoula, Joe Missoula started recruiting me when I was sophomore in high school, junior high school, and didn't stop until he ended up leaving to go to the Red Claws. So, and I had known Coach Calhoun my whole life, just being around WVU basketball. He was there, and then went to Fairmount from there because he wanted to be a head coach. So, I just had a good relationship with them. It was close to home, and one of my best friends, Kenzie Milko, was on the team too. So, it just was kind of a no-brainer for me.
And what when you went to Wichita? Was that just to get the core classes out of the way, or did you already go in there knowing this is what I wanted? Whatever.
No, I had every intention to stay at Wichita my whole 4 years.
No, I meant major-wise. What were you going?
I was undecided for the first year. I just
Okay.
wanted to go get some core classes, but summer school has less to do with school really than just they want you there working out, getting in shape, and everything. So.
Okay. Well, see, that's something that I don't think a lot of people
Yeah,
might realize.
we were having full practices in the summer, so it was pretty. we were in the gym 5-6 hours a day.
Now, is that different from Fairmont?
Most D2s don't have summer school, but Fairmont put together a program because the donors were generous enough to do that for us. So we actually ended up having summer school. It's way different than Wichita's though, because you really can't have like practice or nothing like that with the coaches or anything. You're allowed to lift and stuff with your strength trainer, but like you can't have skill workouts or nothing with your coaches. So we were more kind of playing open gym, getting shots up, stuff like that.
Now, obviously, what was, and we're going to keep bouncing back between Fairmont and Wichita. Practice the day of school, right? Now you had the summer school side, but what was
so we'd wake up, lift. If you had class, you'd go to class. It was online. You just do your thing, and then at Wichita you go to practice, and then Fairmont the classes were all online during the summer. So basically, you're just in the gym all day.
And then
both places.
Once you're into your first full semester at Fairmont, your day is wake up, go to class, hit the gym, then hit the weight room, hit the gym?
Wake up, hit the weights, go to class, and then if off season you have like a workout with the coaches in your skill position, and then if you're in season, you got practice in the afternoon, and then if you have a night class or something, you're doing that.
And then you got, it's 3 games a week? Two games a week.
It was 2.
Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Wednesday, Saturday.
Wednesdays. I knew there's the Saturdays, the always.
Yeah, Wednesday, Saturday, sometimes Thursday, just depends. When you're out of conference is a little different. It's just kind of whenever teams can play, but in conference it was always Wednesday, Saturday.
Now, once you get those cores out of the core classes out of the way, what did you decide to go to school for?
I did majored in political science and criminal justice, and then got my MBA. But I don't know, I've always been interested in history and politics and the way things work, so.
And then the pursuit of your master's, was that always going to be, that was always a goal?
Yeah, I was always definitely going to get my master's, because especially after I had a red shirt because of injury, I definitely wanted to get my master's, and I was always going to do my MBA just to diversify and have more of a different background. Now
let's walk through, because you had the red shirt, so there was 2 major injuries.
Yeah, so
back to back actually.
Yeah, so my freshman year, 3/4 away through that season, I ended up tearing my shoulder and my labrum, but not getting to finish. But that season was crazy. We had a really good team that year. We ended up winning the national championship that year.
Now, halfway through that season, you get that happens.
Yeah.
So you're rehabbing. You come back feeling good. You're strong. And that team brought a lot of people back as well, right? That first year to the second, or was that
we brought some guys back. We also lost a lot of guys that year. I mean, we went on won our first 23 games, and ended up only losing 3 games that year. Had a couple All-Americans, a couple All-Region players, so, and they had all been there for the entirety of Coach Calhoun's tenure. So they all graduated after that year, and we still had some returning guys like our point guard, a couple guards, a couple big men that didn't play as much, but were still really good players. So we had some guys familiar with the program. We're definitely expected to go on another run. Yeah.
So then you're coming back now. Said
I had surgery in April of that year after my freshman year. Just got to rehab and stuff before, and then got cleared in like December. So I did redshirt my sophomore year. And then got cleared in December, just started practicing. And then we ended up not making the NCAA tournament that year, actually. And then came back for summer school, started practicing, playing open gym, and just tore my ACL after the last day of summer practice.
So you come back from an injury that, for a lot of people, especially shooting-wise, you have to relearn kind of all of that.
Yeah.
Was it Markel Fultz? Is that what that's kind of what
I
he
don't know
went?
what he had. He had something crazy. They said he had like the yips or something. I don't really know, but.
Well, I remember he had come out and he had something done to his shoulder.
Crazy with his shoulder. No one really knows.
So, but a similar thing is he had to relearn. You had to relearn that the shooting technique and because it's there, right? It's not muscle memory is still there, but you
got to build your muscles up again, get them strong so they can perform how they did before.
Which is one basketball injury that you really don't want to have because of. Then you come back from that, you get through the entire summer, you're getting ready to go into the tail end of the off-season workouts. The knee. What's when the knee happens? What's the mental state for you?
Devastated, honestly, but after kind of the feeling set in and everything, just talking with Joe and everything, I really feel a little bit better, but it's obviously devastating, but just shit that makes you stronger.
And then, obviously, so you fought to come back, you rehabbed this second injury. And I believe that next year would have been
Joe's first year, and then my ACL would have been his second year.
And that your ACL, coming back from the ACL, would be the COVID year, right? No, the year before COVID.
Year before COVID.
Okay. So how does the year after the ACL, the ACL?
Yeah, so I redshirted Joe's whole second year. And then, he ended up going back to Boston. And then, so the next year, got another new coaching staff, Tim Canning. And, yeah, just coming back from that, it was obviously tough getting your feet back under you, but we ended up having a good team that year. And then, yeah, COVID just cut our season short because of,
Wow.
yeah.
And now, so I bring up Chase because he was talking about how, WVU's in the hotel, they're watching them pull, I think it was New York, gets pulled off the court, or
Somebody, I don't know.
somebody
who it was.
gets pulled off of an NBA game, and then they tried to run one of the tournaments tried to proceed college-wise. They made it through a half, and they got yanked off, and then they proceed to cancel. Had the rest of that season not got canceled, where were you guys heading?
So we were going to play at IUP in our first round
Okay.
of the tournament. So they hosted. It's in D2. It's a little different. Like each number one seed in the region will host.
Now, do they host for? Is it two games and then they'll
three.
Oh, so they get three.
Because you get round of 64, round of 32, and then your championship.
Okay.
For the Sweet 16, and then it's the Elite Eight.
So they host all the way until they would have hosted all the way to the Elite
Yep.
Eight. Okay. So again, the adversity and whatnot that you've dealt with through your collegiate basketball career, you find out the season's over. What's the thought? I mean, was there a thought process of trying to go overseas or trying to continue playing?
No, because I still had another year.
Okay.
After that, so you're obviously in shock, but just deal with it. I mean, COVID was a crazy time, shut everything down for a little while, but we knew we were gonna play the next season. It's too much money involved, so.
So how does the senior year go?
It was good. We had a pretty good team. We ended up getting bounced in the first round of the tournament, but I mean, it was fun.
And
Fun way to close out my career. I mean, I really enjoyed being on that team. Still friends with a lot of the guys.
And that accomplishes a goal that you
we
set
did
for
end
yourself.
up winning our conference tournament that year, the MEC tournament. So that was,
which is big because West Lib's out of that conference. Wheeling's out of that. I mean, there's a couple
good schools.
pretty good Division II basketball schools in that.
Yeah, for sure.
And Fairmont as well. I mean, it's not like we're talking about Fairmont, so I don't want to glaze over them. But you've alluded to this Joe, and I believe, as we're recording this, he's got about an hour and a half before he makes his
debut.
The NBA head coaching
season.
debut. This is not the first interview you've done about Joe either. You did a little sound bite for USA Today a couple weeks ago, right?
Some paper in Boston. But yeah, no, Joe's a great guy. I'm happy for him. He deserves everything he's getting. I don't got enough good things to say about Joe, but
what style of coach is he? Like, what's his philosophy?
He's definitely a player's coach, but
Okay.
he's also demanding and expects you to do your job. He's very smart with X's and O's, but he's definitely very much of a player's coach. Really cares about his players, but he also knows what he's talking about on the court. So
Now, do you have an expectation for this season? Not one that you want to share on camera.
I know he's going to do well.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about that. So I know I'm going to be rooting for him. I know he's got the whole state of West Virginia behind him now. So he's got a lot of support, and I mean, we all know he's going to do well. So
now, we covered Joe. We covered Fairmont. Oh, we didn't finish Fairmont. So you get your master's while still finishing out with the red shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Once you come out of Fairmont, what's next? What was the plan?
Kind of my plan was always maybe study for law school, take a year off of school, work with the family and everything, and then really didn't end up doing too much studying, so still working.
The bar exam's not something.
The
bar. The LSAT is
yeah.
not. It's not it's not just a go in and take it type thing.
No,
so
not at all. So.
And now, so you work here at CZS,
Yeah.
at Chateau, and then your brother works over at American Homes with your dad.
Yep.
And here it's you, Cody, your cousin, and your uncle Zip, who we had on last week. What is the day-to-day like for you?
For me, I come in about 7:45, try to get there and get my morning situated, think about what I need to do in the morning, what's going on in the meeting. So we have that morning meeting, and then with all the guys, kind of give them tasks for the day, let them know what needs fixed, what we want done, and everything like that. And then I'll go meet with Zip again, kind of talk about how the meeting went and anything else that we maybe forgot, we'll talk about. And then after that, just probably go down and go through my email and just deal with tenants all day.
Now, when we talked to Zip last week, he had said at one point there were plans in Fairmount to expand, I believe, Chateau South.
Mm-hmm.
Those plans, obviously, with the cost of everything, have been put on hold. Is there anything else development-wise from you guys that's coming, or are you kind of waiting to see price fluctuations, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely always looking for a deal, always looking to make money, make moves, but definitely don't want to rush into anything too crazy. So kind of right now, I guess it's just wait and see for me at least. Just learn more about Chateau and CZS, stuff like that.
And the only way I can wrap this up is to put a bet down with you. So I'm a whiskey drinker, you're a tequila drinker, correct?
Correct.
So if the Cowboys finish out with a better record than the Steelers, I'll buy you a bottle of tequila. And if the Steelers finish a better record, then you buy me a bottle of whiskey.
Good deal.
Good? All right. Well, that you're already 6 games up on me, so I just need the Cowboys to.
We need our quarterback back, man.
This has been Dingo Talk. I am Carlo Guadagnino, Steven Solomon, taking time with us. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Wisdom. Those are the 4 social media platforms. I'm still not really sure what Wisdom is, but the other ones, check it out. We got content on them. The only one you have to check or type different is Dingo_Talk, and that's for Instagram. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Google. I mean, we're pretty much everywhere you can get a podcast. And if you're looking for an apartment, call this guy. If you're a college student looking for an apartment and you're in the Morgantown area, you call this guy and he'll take care of you.
Sure.
But as I said, we're here every Thursday. I am Carlo Guadagnino. Steven Solomon, thank you very much for taking time, man.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it. Make sure you get home to watch that game.
I will. I'll be tuned in.
And
for Joe and LeBron.
Well, I don't know about that. That second guy, we can have him and Bronny and all them play together, so we get the story out of the way and just call it a day. We'll see you next Thursday, Chuckleheads.
You wanna know by now. You wanna know.